Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Prasajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prasajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Prasajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prasajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Reading now from Srila Prabhupada's Lilamrita. Although, as Prabhupada would sometimes mention, in South India, the original Vedic culture was most intact. He had not been there in several years. Most of the great acharyas, Shankara, Ramanuja, and Madhava, had come from South India, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, during his own touring, had found South India especially favourable. Just after the Hare Krishna Padal festival in Delhi, on the eve of Prabhupada's first tour of Vrindavana with his disciples, back in November of 1971, Achyutananda Swami, Brahmananda Swami, and Giriraja had volunteered to go to Madras to arrange a preaching program for Srila Prabhupada. When Achyutananda Swami had informed Prabhupada of the plan, Prabhupada had said, "Oh, you are not going to Vrindavana with us?" "ISKCON is Vrindavana," Achyutananda Swami had replied. "Yes," Prabhupada had said. "My Guru Maharaja used to think like that." "But which do you want us to do?" Giriraja had asked. "What is the better service?" "I want to put a pandal in Madras," Prabhupada had replied. "That would be more pleasing." Madras, February 11th, 1972. Prabhupada, accompanied by 20 disciples, arrived in Madras and immediately took part in a parade through the streets. The parade, led by a decorated elephant and a marching band, followed by the devotees, Kirtana, featured Prabhupada riding in an old flower-covered American limousine. Prabhupada stayed as the guest of Mr. Balu, a Madrasi businessman, for 3 nights in the large hall packed with 5,000 people. Prabhupada lectured in English. One evening he told a story from the Chaitanya Charitamrita of an illiterate South Indian Brahmana who Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recognized for his staunch devotion to his spiritual master and to the Bhagavad Gita. The next morning, and each subsequent morning, the Hindu, one of Madras's two leading newspapers, printed a full summary of Prabhupada's lecture. The other principal newspaper gave a more general account of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami's arrival and the parade with his Western followers. The large 3-day program was followed by a more select gathering sponsored by Mr. K. Veera Swami, the Chief Justice of Madras. Attending the function were judges, lawyers, and other leading citizens of the city. Several thousand people gathered beneath the open pavilion as Prabhupada spoke about Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami of Vrindavan, who had given up their important government positions to join the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Indirectly, Prabhupada was requesting all the attending leaders of Madras to join the Krishna consciousness movement. Prabhupada was aware that his audience, although respectful, was steeped in impersonalism, deep-seated conviction that impersonal Brahman was supreme and that all Hindu gods were equal manifestations of the One. And Prabhupada ended his talk by imploring his audience to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just repeat, he said, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His appeal was so urgent and humble that some members of the audience actually repeated aloud, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Hindu's editor and publisher, Mr. Kasturi, was in attendance, and he printed a detailed summary of Prabhupada's speech in the next day's paper. In addition to the usual news coverage, Srila Prabhupada held a press conference at a Madras hotel. Already happy with the press coverage, he appealed further to the roomful of reporters. Giriraja. Prabhupada wasn't speaking to them as if they were newspaper reporters. Usually a newspaper reporter has a stereotyped idea of who he is, and you giving an interview. So you have your stereotyped idea of who you are, and you answer his questions, thinking of how it will be published. But I could see that Prabhupada was speaking to these reporters as spirit souls, as individual persons who are meant to be devotees of Krishna. Even though they were addressing him as newspaper reporters, he was answering them in a completely different way. He was encouraging them and saying, this reporting that you have done is very nice. Krishna will bless you. Please help spread this movement. They were asking questions, thinking of his answers in terms of something to publish in the newspapers. But Prabhupada took it that they were spirit souls reaching out toward Krishna consciousness, and he answered in that way. Within a few days of Prabhupada's arrival, the whole city was feeling the presence of the Hare Krishna movement. Prabhupada scarcely slept, using the early morning hours for translating, even after his late-night speaking engagements. He would go from place to place all day with great vitality, outdoing his young followers. Prabhupada's host, Mr. Balu, although a prominent businessman, was also well known as a religious man. He received Prabhupada warmly and respectfully, according to proper Vedic etiquette. Prabhupada noticed that Mr. Balu had his own temple with beautiful Radha Krishna deities and a large tulsi plant. When the devotees accompanying Srila Prabhupada asked Mr. Balu why the deities were often dressed in black, he replied that they were so effulgent that if he didn't dress them in black, he wouldn't be able to look on them. He did not make prostrated obeisances to his deity, because he and his wife were Krishna's father and mother, he said. And how can the father pay obeisances to his son? Prabhupada and his host related to each other graciously. But one night, Mr. Balu and his wife came to Srila Prabhupada and asked him to please speak about the Rasa Leela of Radha and Krishna. Prabhupada replied that the Rasa Leela, being the most exalted spiritual topic, was meant only for liberated souls. Only one completely free of material desires Prabhupada explained, was fit to hear the Rasa Leela. No, Swamiji, Mr. Balu insisted. My wife and I are very keen. You must recite Rasa Leela. Again, Prabhupada described the exalted position of the Rasa dance, repeating that only when one is completely free of all material attachments to wife, family, home and money could he become fit to hear of Krishna's Rasa dance. Mr. Balu then folded his hands and politely repeated, Swamiji, my wife and I plead with you, please recite Rasa Leela. Then Prabhupada replied, well, you may be fit to hear Rasa Leela, but I do not feel that I am qualified to speak it. So kindly ask someone else. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna Mataji, your sound needs to be increased a bit.
I'll see if I'll speak a little closer. Can you hear me better now?
A bit, but still there is scope to improve. Is it possible to increase further?
I'm not sure. I can speak now.
Okay, and now it is better a bit.
Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 4, sorry, not Chapter 4, that was an old one. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 19, Text 10. So this one's not this is just prose, so. Tam Bhagavan Narado Varnashrama Vatibir Bharatibir Bi Prajabir Bhagavat Proktabhyam Sankhya Yogabhyam Bhagavat Anubhavopavarnanam Sadvaniya Upadeksha Manaha Parama Bhakti Bhaveno Pasarati Idam Chabir Granati. Does anyone else want to read the text, the Sanskrit?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I am trying to. Tam Bhagavan Narado Varnashramavati Bharoti Prajabhir Bhagavat Proktabhyam Sankhya Yogabhyam Bhagavat Anubhavopavarnanam Savarner Upadekshamanaha Param Bhakti Bhavena Upasarati Idam Chabhi Grinati. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. Tam Bhagavan Narada Varnashrama Bhotivir Bharatibhihi Projabhir Bhagavat Proktabhyam Sankhya Yogabhyam Bhagavat Anubhavopavarnanam Savarner Upadekshamanaha Paramabhakti Bhavena Upasarati Idam Chabhi Grinnati. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I am also trying to read. Tam Bhagavan Naradaha Varnashram Vativihi Bharativi Prajavi Bhagavat Proktabhyam Shankha Yogabhyam Bhagavat Anubhava Upavarnanam Savarne Upadekshamanaha Param Bhakti Bhavena Upasarati Idam Cha Abhigrinati. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Tam Bhagavan Narado Varnasharam अवधिभिः भारतिभिः प्रजाभिर्भगवत् प्रोक्त अभ्याम शंखया योग अभ्याम भगवत अनुभावो पावरणनम सावरण्येर उपदेक्षयामानः परम भक्ति भावेनो पशरति इदं चाभिग्रणाति. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, reading word for word. Reading word for word. Tam, him, Naranarayana. Bhagavan, the most powerful saintly person. Narada, the great sage Narada. Vana ashrama Vatibihi, by followers of the institution of the 4 Vanas and 4 ashrams. Bharatibihi, of the land known as Bharatavarsha, India. Prajabihi, who are the inhabitants. Bhagavat Proktabhyam, which was stated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sankhya, by the Sankhya Yoga system, the analytical study of material conditions. Yogabhyam, by practice of the yoga system. Bhagavat Anubhava Upavananam, which describes the process of God realization. Savarnehi, unto Savani Manu. Upadekshya Manaha, instructing. Parama Bhakti Bhavena, in great ecstatic loving service to the Lord. Upasarati, serves the Lord. Idam, this. Cha, and. Abhigranati, chants. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. In his own book, known as Narada Pancharatra, Bhagavan Narada has very vividly the ultimate goal of life, devotion, through knowledge and through execution of the mystic yoga system. He has also described the glories of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The great sage Narada instructed the tenets of this transcendental literature to Sarana Manu in order to teach those inhabitants of Bharatavarsha who strictly follow the principles of Vanashrama Dharma how to achieve the devotional service of the Lord. Thus Narada Muni, along with the other inhabitants of Bharatavarsha, always engages in the service of Narayana, and he chants as follows. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has clearly declared, Bharatam Bhumite Haila Manushya Janma Yara Janma Sartaka Kari Kara Para Upakara. The real success of fulfillment of the mission of human life can be achieved in India, Bharatavarsha, because in Bharatavarsha the purpose of life and the method for achieving success are evident. People should take advantage of the opportunity afforded by Bharatavarsha, and this is especially so for those who are following the principles of Varnashrama Dharma. If we do not take to the principles of Varnashrama Dharma by accepting the 4 social orders, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and the 4 orders of spiritual life, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, there can be no question of success in life. Unfortunately, because of the influence of Kali Yuga, everything is now being lost. The inhabitants of how then will they teach others? Therefore, this Krishna consciousness movement has been started not only for the inhabitants of Bharatavarsha, but for all the people of the world, as announced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There is still time, and if the inhabitants of Bharatavarsha take this movement of Krishna consciousness seriously, the entire world will be saved from gliding down to a hellish condition. The Krishna consciousness movement follows the process of Pancharatrika Vidhi and simultaneously, so that people can take advantage of the movement and make their lives successful. Om Ananya Timarandasya Chalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisances to such a spiritual master. Reading again the translation. In his own book, as Narada Pancharatra, Bhagavan Narada has vividly described how to work to achieve the ultimate goal of life, devotion, through knowledge and through execution of the mystic yoga system. He has also described the glories of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The great sage Narada instructed the tenets of this transcendental literature to Sarvana Manu, in order to teach those inhabitants of Bharatavarsha who strictly follow the principles of Varnashradharma how to achieve the devotional service of the Lord. Thus Narada Muni, along with the other inhabitants of Bharatavarsha, always engages in the service of Naranarayana, and he chants as follows. So, in this verse, we have Narada Muni described as Bhagavan. So what does Bhagavan mean? Bhag is, or opulences, the 6 opulences, and Van is possessing all of them. So this is saying Narada Muni is possessing all 6 opulences of the opulences of beauty, wealth, strength, fame, knowledge, and renunciation. But how can this be so? Because usually Krishna as Bhagavan contains all the opulences in full. Yeah, Bhagavan is all the opulences in full. So how come Narada Muni is being given this, described in this way? And because Krishna loves his devotees and wants to glorify his devotees, so he is trying to give them ways, and Narada really does serve in so many ways. He appears in so many pastimes and is the spiritual master of many great devotees, such as Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj, and gives them instructions as appropriate for them. So he really is such a great devotee. Krishna wants to give him all the opulences, and he travels around, goes to Vaikuntha and back out of Vaikuntha, and he goes everywhere, as Prabhupada has described him. He's the transcendental spaceman. And there's someone once asked Prabhupada, so Lord Chaitanya gave the said that the prediction that in time the holy name of the Lord Hare Krishna will be chanted all over the world, in every town and village. And so for a couple of centuries, people wondered in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, wondered how that was going to come about. And Prabhupada was once asked, why did Lord Chaitanya not do it himself? Bring the Hare Krishna mantra to every town and village in the world. And Prabhupada thought about that, and he replied, because Krishna wanted me to bring it. And so he wanted, again, this is Krishna or Lord Chaitanya wanting his devotee to have the fame, to be recognized. And so indeed Prabhupada did bring it to the West, and it's being spread because of him through the world in every town and village. And when Prabhupada went back to India after bringing it to the West, other Brahmanas said, well, anyone could have done that, but really, could they? No one else did it. Also, there's the story of a similar incident with Christopher Columbus traveling the world, traveling to and discovering the America, and which, I mean, many explorers had been out trying to discover what's beyond the seas. And so when he came back, also people said, oh, anyone could have done that, just sail enough till you bump into some more land, the Americas. And Christopher Columbus very cleverly gave them an egg, a hard-boiled egg, and said, who can stand this egg upright? And so all the critical people attempted to stand the egg up, and of course no one managed to. And then finally Christopher Columbus took the egg, cut the bottom off it, and stood it upright. And then the other people said, well, anyone could have done that. And Christopher Columbus's reply was, well, if anyone could have, why didn't you do it? So again, there's something special needed to do it. Sure, it was simple, easy, but no one else managed to do it. So yes, Prabhupada was given that task of sharing it all over the world, and we have the opportunity to share to share the holy name with more and more people, and please the Lord in this way, become great devotees. So yes, Narada Muni, another as such a great devotee that he's been recognized as Bhagavan, containing all opulences. Another important point of note in this verse is in the purport, where Srila Prabhupada says that the Krishna consciousness movement follows the process of Pancharatrika Vidhi and that of Bhagavata Vidhi simultaneously, so that people can take advantage of the movement and make their lives successful. So watch Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavata Vidhi, different processes. So Pancharatrika Vidhi is the processes of Pardhanam, Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam, So the process of worshipping the deity and offering prayers, archanam, serving, being friendship, renunciation, full devotion to the Lord in all ways. And what's Bhagavat? So it's an external processes. We follow the steps, the processes in Pancharatrika Vidhi. But it's also been stated that Bhagavat Vidhi is the ultimate, and only Bhagavat Vidhi is necessary. Those are the more internal processes as well as external. Shravanam, hearing, Kirtanam, speaking, and Smaranam, remembering, are the Bhagavat Vidhi processes, which are of prime importance and alone enough. But why did Prabhupada say that if Bhagavat Vidhi is enough, the hearing, speaking, and remembering, then why is Pancharatrika Vidhi also necessary? And it's described that it's because that's the purification, that we need to purify as well. So we follow the Pancharatrika Vidhi to purify ourselves so that we can fully and properly hear, chant, and remember Krishna. So yes, these are some points within this verse that I wanted to highlight. Does anyone want to offer anything further or have any questions to ask?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for asking this question. And you very nicely explained about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's role. And in other words, in the present day, in the age of Kali, when all the people are mostly fallen, and he has given us a very simple ways to become a devotee of the Lord, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And in this present age, when, as Prabhupada has told, people are so grossly engaged in sense enjoyment, and the civilization root is based on more sense enjoyment, and that is the scale of advancement nowadays. But the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remind us about our duty or responsibility as a human being, because the human being is not meant for sense enjoyment like other animals, because we have got a higher intelligence, and in this form of life we have the opportunity to know about the God and ask questions about the Lord and meditate upon that and find out what is our relationship with the Lord, or in other words, a higher questions that should arise in one's mind. Why I have come in this world, why I am born, why I am going, and why I will die one day, why I have a disease, and why I have old age, although I don't want it, but I have to pass through it. So that question should arise in our mind. Then spending most of our time unnecessary for sense enjoyment, or remain like as Prabhupada is sometimes told, is the animal form of life. So we should elevate ourselves beyond this animal form of life. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message is so important here. And Prabhupada has established ISKCON, or Krishna Consciousness Movement, just to spread this message to the whole world. And in the words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it should go to every village and towns. So if it spreads, the people will understand the role of human life and the purpose of human life in this way. If they pursue it, they can make their life successful and can reach the ultimate destination of the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, any other devotees have anything to say, or the class may be ended if nobody has any other points or question or realization? Hare Krishna Mataji, it appears there is no other people has any other questions, so the class may be concluded. Thank you once again for your class. Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarubhasya
Kripa sindhu bhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo.
Ananta Koti
Koti Vaishnav Bindu ki jai.
Prabhavati Mataji ki
Jai.
jai, Srila Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai,
jai.
Gaur Kimanande,
Hari Hari Ho.
all glories to
Assembled devotees, Hare Krishna.
Assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, glories to
Hare
assembled.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare